Alright folks, working on a 2011 Chevrolet with no hood prop apparently. So we'll use our own. Lady states that money light is on. We're going to throw a battery maintainer on it. We got the Altel hooked up. We'll see what we have in it for a code or codes. Let's see, got her all ID'd on the Altel here. We'll go and see what code it has. Was the engine light on when you drove it in, McCoy? Yeah. It was, okay. We'll just say it has dual zone. I don't know. And we're just going to go right to the ECM. Alright, yep, EVAP system large leak detected. Alright, and vent control solenoid. So it's a couple classic GM codes, 449 for open circuit or a circuit problem in the canister vent valve. And then if the canister vent valve doesn't work, you know, it's stuck open, the system will interpret it as a large leak. So pretty classic stuff. We've probably done videos on these before, but we'll just keep going because we didn't know what we were going to have until we knew what we were going to have, right? So we just want to look at a couple things here. I want to see fuel tank pressure. I want to see that at 1.5 volts, and it is. All right, that's all I wanted to look at here. So let's go back. We'll go into active test. You can go ahead and start getting up on the lift there, McCoy. We're going to go to the canister vent valve or the vent solenoids. They have it listed here. I don't hear it kicking on back there. So, but we can see the short ground test, it shows at fault, and the open test, it shows at fault. So likely just a bad vent valve there. So, okay, let's get up in here and check it. They're pretty easy to get to on these cars. So right back here by the left rear tire, this is the filler neck, and then the canister vent valve lives up here. Usually they're pretty rusty underneath the plastic. Well, it's kind of difficult to see here, but let me take and unplug it. Actually, we let the car down a little bit, McCoy. Make it a little easier to reach here. Infamous red lock in there. If I can move my light up in there, get our fingers behind it. All right, so there's our connector. Sometimes these connectors are green and corroded. In this case it isn't. It's not even jammed full of holes or anything. So typically, one of these wires, usually the pink or the red with white, is a full-time power from a fuse. So we're going to lightly front probe this connector. And then if we stick this up the body ground, yep, there we go. So we've got power back here, okay? And then the computer ground side switches the solenoid. So we'll lightly front probe that one. Now come over to the scan tool, we'll turn the valve on. Yep, that lights up the light. And we turn it off, we can go on and off with it. So that's it. I mean, that's a pretty simple test. The canister vent valve is simply open circuited. So we need a new canister vent valve. The control from the PCM is good because we can light a 1/4 amp test light. And that's pretty much all there is to do. You could always take and stick an ohm meter if you don't have bidirectional controls. You can make sure that you have power back here and then stick your ohm meter across the coil of the solenoid. And I imagine it's probably like, 30 to 50 ohms, somewhere in there. This one I imagine would be much higher than that, it'd be open circuited. So what we'll do is we'll get it out of there. It's hooked to this rusty bracket up here. We'll take this bolt out, hopefully. Take the whole bracket down where we can get to it, and we'll follow that hose up and see where that unhooks from the tank. It's interesting, it looks like it has grease on it. Oh yeah, it's actually, it actually came unhooked pretty easy. It's likely been replaced before. Yeah, there's some kind of grease or something on here. So these are a super common failure prone item here, especially in the rust belt. Like I say, usually corrosion is what gets them, that rusts out under the plastic. Yank that baby out of there. Whoops. We just slid it off the bracket instead of taking the whole bracket down. Yeah, just seeing if the solenoid here was swollen. Nope, it doesn't really look that old, to be honest with you. So, just for the sake of the video, I guess we can do a quick ohm check on this. Stick that on ohmage, we'll check our leads. They're good. We'll just compare it to the new one, but I imagine this is open circuited or very high resistance. Get on these pins here. Come on. There we go. Let her settle out. So it is 0.800 mega ohms. So we're way beyond the limit to what we should be. Like I said, I would expect it to be, maybe around 50 ohms or so, but we're up in the mega ohm scale. So it is open circuited. So that's that. Nap has come through for us yet again. So there's that. Open her up. There's that. Extra part. Oh, it comes with a new bracket. I was hoping it did. The other bracket's pretty rusty. And then it comes with this jumper harness here. Some of the older GMs use this style connector, and then you would just plug this into the vehicle to go to this style, but this car is already equipped with that connector there. So now we can see what the resistance value of a good solenoid is. Maybe you guys can see that there. I'll just read it to you. $20 ohms, so 19.3, so 20 ohms. All right. So if you're checking yours and want to know what a good value is, it's 20 ohms. Me and McCoy are going to get this swapped out. We just yanked it off the bracket because this bolt wasn't looking too healthy, so we'll see if that bolt feels like it wants to turn. If it does, we'll swap the new bracket on. If it doesn't, we'll use the old rusty bracket. The bolt actually came loose. We had to use a twist socket on it, but it came loose pretty easily actually. So we'll get a new 6mm bolt to stick in there. So there's our old bracket. Out of the old in with the new. Make sure that looks like she's gonna line up. She does, sweet. All right, we'll go get a new bolt for it. I've just gone ahead and put it on the bracket before we stick it up here. We can take and plug it in, have it on the bracket, and then technically, get the scan tool here. Oops, sorry about the bad lighting. Let's see. Now we should be able to hear it click. All right, so that's good. Slide the whole thing up there. We got our new 6mm bolt. Takes the infamous 10mm socket. Stick that bad boy on there. Grab our torque wrench, torque it to factory specs, of course. There we are. We all heard it click. Hook the hose up. So one potential issue after doing a vent valve and having a large leak code is now it has the ability to run the leak test on the tank, check for small leaks and so on. What our habit usually is to do is we'll close the vent valve, and technically it should start building pressure in the tank. So it's just like leaving a gas can out in the sun. As it heats up, feels volatile, it's gonna start building pressure. Even though this is kind of cold in the shop and the car itself is pretty cold and the fuel tank's cold, but you can see we're still building a slight amount of pressure. And then, so if we let it sit here for a while, it'll continue to build, but build really slow. So this is a good indicator. This tells us that we likely don't have, a leak in the EVAP system. It's not a foolproof method, but it works pretty good. So now we'll turn it off and it should go back to atmospheric pressure. Yep, and you see it vent back out. So, so that's a good sign. I'm gonna let the lady take it and just run, you know, drive cycle on it, and if it comes back with a, you know, with a leak code, then we'll chase it chase it down from there. But the way that this builds pressure that quickly, just through just natural expansion, I would say we're more than likely good. All right, folks, that's it. So large EVAP leak canister vent valve circuit code on your Chevy Impala. Sorry for the repeats, because like I said, I'm sure that we've done this before, but it's just part of life. That's how the shop works. We never know what we're getting in. And if you're wondering who McCoy is, so he's an intern here from a local high school. They have a program for kids who are likely going to have, you know, a blue collar job or a job in the trades, and they're going out and experiencing different types of trades for each quarter of school. But they're also pursuing higher academics too at school, so therefore they're not going to like our local trade program that they have at the school. If any of that makes sense. But anyhow, so he might be in a few videos here and there. And that's it. Questions, comments, concerns, the Insta, the Facebook. You guys know what to do. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.